John HILL-DUNT, it's great to see you. And this weekend, Scorio showing one of the greatest Welsh Cup finals in recent years. Prestatyn against Bangor. That was some day for you in goal for Prestatyn that day, lifting the cup, man of the match. What do you remember of it all?
It's a bit of a blur during the time, really. When you're involved in the sort of the build-up and during the game, you kind of don't take it in. And it's still, a couple of years later, it still didn't really sink in until you look back over memories. Obviously, you're chatting to old teammates and old fans and things like that. It's when you kind of take things in, really. Because at the time, I'd been at Prestatyn since we were in, I think it was Tier 4 at the time. In the space of 6 years, we'd gone from Tier 4 to playing in Europe that summer. So it was ridiculous, the rise that we had with the same group of lads, really.
Prestatyn go 1-0 up. And then it's Bangor against you, from what I remember from the photos.
Yeah.
Is it fair to say you had a decent game?
Yeah, I think I did all right, yeah. So it wasn't too bad. The penalty save and then the save from Les from the top corner all before half-time. Because leading up to the game, leading up to the final, I hadn't been playing very well. And it was probably in Gibbo's thoughts maybe to try and put someone else in goal, which I wouldn't have blamed him. I remember I made a mistake in the semi-final against Barry and a couple of mistakes in the league games leading up to the end of the season. So I wasn't playing particularly well at the time. So it was quite nice that I'd managed to repay the faith that Gibbo had put in me to sort of put me in that position.
They eventually get back into it, of course. There's an own goal after all the pressure. So it went to extra time. Did you think...
Yeah, I think Chris Davis put an own goal in off his nose.
Do you think you'd blown it at that point when Bangor did equalise?
I think because I think we were quite comfortable all game, so like we had missed a few chances, and you start to think, are these going to come and bite us in the backside? But and obviously when the own goal went in, it kind of does deflate you a little bit. But I think the fans were just brilliant because, like I say, it's not a well supported club, Prestatyn, but the fans they do have are very passionate, and it's sort of got great support, but not in numbers. So obviously when we turned up, obviously Bangor are well known for having a big support. So we turned up expecting maybe a couple of hundred. And when I was in Union Wrexham, I used to live in a flat above the Turf, the pub next door to the racecourse. So I text the landlord to say, there's a few hundred Prestatyn fans coming up. Will you put on a few beers and obviously food? And like, yeah, no problem. I think not far off 1,000 turned up, and it's only a small little pub with a little beer garden. So I think he was cursing me a little bit. Obviously, he didn't mind the takings. But so we all walked out and saw the fans in the ground when we were warming up. It was kind of just like it was unbelievable.
There's an amazing shot. You'll be able to see it again this weekend when it goes 2-1 in extra time. Parkinson scores from the free kick and they cut to you. You're on your knees. Just like this.
God knows what I've just euphoria. Just sort of you don't really realise you're doing it. And I didn't. Obviously, I knew I'd celebrated because I was on my knees, sort of like, yes, like kind of, because you expect when you go 2-1 up in extra time, you kind of think, we can hang on to this. Or you kind of think we're not going to lose it. So you kind of think, worst case, it's going to go to penalties. But I didn't really realise I did it till we watched it back at the club. We watched it in a bar in Prestatyn when the highlights came back on. It was around 9:30, 10ish. But didn't really, it's kind of it sounds a bit cheesy and cringe to say, but it's kind of out-of-body experience. You don't really think what you're doing.
Yeah, it was one of those days. It was an amazing day. Can we ask you about the after the final whistle? Was there a bit of a party?
Yeah, so it's obviously it's only a little clubhouse in Prestatyn, isn't it? So a lot of fans went back there, and a lot of the players went. And I don't think we paid for a drink all night. And then Michael Parker knows someone who owns a bar in Prestatyn, so we went around there and had a few beers and a few bottles of vodka. And obviously they got a big screen, so as the highlights came back on, we were all watching it again.
An amazing day, and just fine. It was an amazing time as well to be part of that club. I'm sure, as you say, coming through the league together, winning that cup, and then, of course, playing in Europe. It must have been a special time in your life as a footballer.
Yeah, I'd have never. I've always thought I was an all right goalkeeper with a bit of ability, but I'd never have ever dreamed that I'd played in the European time. I played in the second round, the second leg, and I came on in the first leg, but to come from where I'd played 5-6 years ago, playing on park football, basically similar to Balor's story, really. And coming from park football to European football, it's something that you never really dream. And even chatting to Andy Parkinson, who's played 300-400 league games, played at Wembley, he was kind of like, I've never played in Europe. So when you're experiencing things for the first time, who's someone who's played professionally all his career, you kind of realise what you've achieved. Brilliant. It was lovely to do it with all my mates. John, I played with Mike Parker, Dave Hayes, Rhys Owen, Ross Stevens had all played together for 4, 5, 6 years. So to come through it all with people that you genuinely like as well, it's a great experience.